Welcome to the Backing Up System Files lab exercise for preparing and delivering a successful SEP implementation. In this lab exercise, we're going to implement the best practice recommendations for preparing and managing a disaster recovery file. So after Symantec Endpoint Protection Manager is installed, a best practice when preparing for disaster recovery is to back up the database, recovery file, server properties file, and general management server information. So let's get started. Let's begin by creating a backup disaster recovery folder here on the desktop of our SEPM server. We're just going to simply label this SEP14DR backup for now. And we'll use this as a holding location to store the various backup documents that we will collect in our system. So we're going to go ahead and launch the SEPM Manager console. Log in with the credentials that we've created previously. And we'll be taken to the main dashboard page. We'll close our Getting Started page, and we're going to navigate to the admin screen, highlight our servers themselves, and start by backing up our database. We're going to select the localhost database in this instance of SEPM, and we're going to simply request that we back up the database now and confirm that. So the backup window is going to pop up and tell us that the backup has started. We can see the logs at the bottom of the screen will indicate that a one-time backup has been initiated on SEPM by the admin user. And this will take a minute or so to complete as the database backs up. And we'll see a change in this console when it is complete. One-time backup finished successfully. And it will tell us where that location of the default location of the file is, and we can change this or move this file, but we're going to navigate now to that default location and take a look at the file that we've just created. We have a data folder and then a backup labeled folder, and inside this we have a zip file that has a date and a timestamp on that. We're going to simply copy that and paste a copy of that into our disaster recovery backup folder on the desktop. So that's the database. We've backed up the database. That's the database backup copy. Now we're going to navigate back to Endpoint Protection Manager directory, and we're going to make a copy of the server private key backup folder. Inside of there you're going to see another date stamped recovery folder. This is the disaster recovery file. We want to make a copy of that, save that as well, paste that into our backup file location. And from here, we navigate back to the console, choose the SEPM itself, and we're going to export the server properties file. We're going to take a copy of this. This will be the default certificate values, license key information, things like that. We're going to save a copy of that in our disaster backup folder and simply export that. And now, as a recommended best practice, we're going to create a simple text document, and we'll just simply call this backup.txt. We'll open that blank document. And now we're going to just use this file to save a copy of the server information itself. So hardware information, IP address, server name, just as sort of a best practice for a potential disaster recovery. We'll take a copy of this information, paste this in our text document. IP address, server name, basic networking information, and we'll save this file. And those are the pieces that we need for a good SEP14 disaster recovery backup. The last step that we would do is to take this file that we've created and then store that safely in an off-site location.